Hi everyone. In this session we are going to talk about if block and if else block. These are the control statements that are used in C. Okay, so in this session I will be explaining the syntaxes that are used in if block and for if else block, and the flow of execution, how it happens when the statements get executed actually within the computer system. Okay, so let's start the session. So suppose we have a if block with us. If block. The syntax for if block is if the condition should be there should be a condition, and when this condition is true, it is going to execute the statements which are present within the curly brackets. Okay, the statements, number of statements. Or it may have single statement or number of statements. Those statements which are present within these curly brackets will get executed when the condition of this if block is true. Okay, so there is no else part here. It is a simple if condition. Okay, so I will these statements will get executed only when this condition is true. Now let's see the flow, how the flow of execution happens with the help of a flow chart. The flow of execution. So suppose the process of execution started, and the first is that the condition is being checked. This is a condition for if statement. Okay, and when this condition is true, you know that for every condition there will be only two cases. Either it will be true or it will be false. So if it is true, it is going to execute certain set of statements. If it is false, it is not going to execute the statements which are present within these curly brackets. Okay, so when this condition is true, what happens? Suppose this condition is true, so it is going to execute the statements which are present in the if block statements. Okay, if block statements. This is the box that is used to indicate the statements which are going to get executed. Okay, these are the simple symbols which are used in a flow chart, and this is our end of the task. Okay, end of the execution. Suppose the condition is false, what happens? It simply come and to the end of the execution. Okay, that no statements will get executed and it will come to the end of the portion. Okay, so this is the syntax of the simple if block, and this is the flow of execution that happens when if block is used in C programming. Okay, so now suppose we have another set of code which is using if else block, and the syntax for if else block is like this. There will be, as the term indicates, if else block. So there will be two blocks will be there. One block is said to be the if block, and the second block is said to be the else block. Okay, so the if block is same as we had in our simple if block. If condition, the statements present in these two curly brackets will get executed. If the condition is false, what happens? It will execute those statements which are present within the else block. Okay, so if the condition is, if this condition is true, it is going to execute these statements. If this condition is false, it is going to execute the statements which are present in the else block. Okay, statements. So when the condition present here is true, it is going to execute the statements present in the if block, and when the condition is false, it is going to execute those statements which are present in the else block. Okay, hope this is clear to all of you. Now let us see the flow of execution that happens when if else block is used. So it is also somehow similar to the earlier one, and a little changes there, as we know that when the condition is true, it is going to execute those statements which are present in if block, and when the condition is false, it is going to execute those statements which are present in the else block. Okay, so we have to add that statement here, else block statements, and then it comes to the end of the execution. Okay, so when the condition is true, it is going to execute the statements which are present in the if block. When the condition is false, it is going to execute those statements which are present in the else block. Okay, and here this else part is optional. There is no rule that if there is a if statement, you should have an else block also. Okay, you have to remember one thing. For if block, else part is an optional one, okay, but for the else part, if block is a compulsory one. Okay, so you have to remember this one. For else part, for the if part, else part is optional, and for the else part, if part is a compulsory one. Okay, so you this is how the syntax of if else is looks, and this is how the flow of execution goes on. So I will explain one example and you will get the difference. Okay, so suppose I am going to write a C code using a if else statement. Okay, so we have hash include, our standard library functions are there, and we have a main function is there. Main, you know the basic syntaxes of that. And suppose we have an integer num is equals to 10. Okay, and we are going to check if num is greater than 5, you have to print greater. Okay, else you have to print smaller. Okay, so and here return 0, closing of the main portion. Okay, so here the variable num is initialized with 10, and this 10 is checked with 5. 10 is greater than 5. It is correct. So what will be the result? On the screen you will get greater. And if suppose I am going to put num is equals to 3. And what happens? 3 is greater than 5. No, 3 is not greater than 5. So which statement will executed? This statement will get executed, and you will get a smaller. It will print smaller on the screen. Okay, so you will get result as smaller on the screen. And one more thing you have to remember. When these curly brackets are not necessary, if you are inputting, if there is only one statement within the if block and within the else block, there is no need that you put a curly bracket here. Okay, even if you are not putting the curly braces, it is going to give you the correct result. When the compilation occurs, what happens? It will check num 3 is greater than 5, the condition is false, so simply it will come to the else part, and this printf get executed. Okay, and suppose when the case is earlier one, num is equals to 10, this 10 is greater than 5, so it is going to print greater on the screen. So there is no, I want to mention only this one, there is no need to put curly brackets when there is only single statement within the if block and or within the else block. Okay, and suppose what happens if you have the two statements here. Let me put one statement, the end. Okay, so one more statement I am putting here. So what happens? There is no brackets, there is no curly braces I have put here. So these two statements are coming here, is like this, and this one is this. So what happens when compiler starts executing this program? What happens when the compilation occurs? You will find there will be no error. It will give you num is 10, so 10 is greater than 5. You will get greater. Suppose the value of num is 3. The 3 is greater than 5. No, the condition is false. The control comes here. So it is going to execute. It is going to print the first statement smaller. So you will get the result as smaller. And then you will get the another statement on the screen, the end. Okay. So what happens? When the braces is not present in the if block and the else block, it is going to execute only the immediate first statement after the if or after the else. Okay. So what happens? In this case, you will not find any error. So it is this if is not the part of this else block. Okay. When this else condition is true, this is the only statement executed as part of the else block. This is the free statement. This statement is the free statement. This statement is the free statement. Okay. So suppose when num is equals to 10 and num is greater than 5, you will get greater on the screen, and the control comes to this statement, printf the end. So you will get two statements on the screen, greater and the end. Okay. So these two statements you will get on the screen. But suppose this thing is reverse. Okay, so suppose this we are putting this statement here, printf the end, printf the end. Okay, what happens? You will find one error. So when this num is equals to 10, the num is equals to 10, num is greater than 5, 10 is greater than 5, the condition is true, printf you will get greater, okay, and printf the end you will get the end also. It is here, this is the free statement, it is acting as a free statement. So this is the only statement which gets executed just after the if execution, and this is a print statement. As usual it is a free statement, but you will find the when compiler comes here, else part, it will give you error message on the screen, tells that misplacement of else part. In some compiler different types of errors will occur. In one compiler you will get else is present without if block. Why? Because here the if block executed, you got one result, and the another free statement got executed, everything is clear. Because there is the rule is that else part is an optional part for if. If block is there, there is no compulsion that you should have an else part, okay. But in case of else part, there is a rule that there must be a if part. So you will get one compilation error here. Why? Because there is no if part for this else part, okay. So if you want to remove that error, you have to put the braces. So when you put the braces, the whole statements, the number of statements which are present within the braces will come under the if block. No error will occur, and the statements which are coming within the braces in the else block will be for else block statements, okay. So no errors will be there. But when you are not putting braces, you have to take care of all these things. When you are not putting braces for the blocks, what happens? The first immediate statement after the if will get executed, and after the else will get executed as part of if block and else block respectively, okay. So this thing you have to remember while using if else block, okay. So hope this is clear to all of you. You watch this video one or two times, then only you will get the concept if you think it is a complex one, okay. So thank you for watching. I will come with another video after some time. Thank you so much.